fights to make after UFC Fight Night, Ankalaev versus Guskov. Starting off with the main event and what I believe to be the best fight to make for that. Magomed Ankalaev versus Paulo Costa. And I would say for the interim light heavyweight title. At first, after the main event, I was going to just say do Ankalaev versus Carlos Ulberg. Ulberg was in the crowd. He said he was seeming like he would take on Ankalaev, but at the same time, I just think Ulberg just tore his ACL like a month or two ago. He's going to be out still 7 to 10 months at least, and then he'll have to do a training camp for whatever fight he does. So I think the light heavyweight division needs to be, still keep active in the meantime. I don't think Ankalaev should just wait around after a win where he took little to no damage, really. I think they should do this fight, do it for the interim title, and if Ulberg really is out for a while and he's just holding up the division, at least they can just strip him and promote one of these guys to the undisputed champion. And I think this would be a good fight. I think it'd be interesting. I think it's a very 50-50 matchup. I would want Paulo Costa to win because I'm a fan of Paulo Costa, and I think he could win. We've seen him in his fights before do very well against southpaws on the feet, and Ankalaev is obviously a southpaw, but I could also see in a 5-round fight for an interim title, Paulo Costa does kind of seem to gas with how much he moves on the feet, and maybe Ankalaev takes over, uses his wrestling, and dominates in later rounds. But that Paulo Costa also has very good defensive wrestling, so I think this is just a very interesting matchup, and I think this is what they should do next. I would not be mad if they rescheduled Roundtree versus Ankalaev. I think that was a good fight. I was pretty hyped up for that as the main event. But I could see the UFC doing that, to be honest. I don't think the UFC likes Ankalaev, and I don't think that his performance helped. They might do what they did to him before, where they just give him endless fights before he reaches a title fight. Like, there was a point before he fought Pereira where he pretty much had like 4 title elimination fights, and he won all of them and somehow didn't get a title fight. It's kind of like what they're doing to Movsar Evloev right now. Jeez, I just butchered his name, but it's kind of what they're doing to Movsar right now, where his last 3 fights have all been wins worthy of getting a title shot, and they're still not giving it to him. And that's because these guys are boring. So I could see them giving him Khalil Roundtree or something, but I don't know. Khalil probably going to be out for a while, depending on how bad the injury is. I don't know who you give to Khalil, but I would say this is the best fight to make next. And also this picture, I just had to put this up here. This really fried me. I don't know why. The lighting on this is insane. Magomed Ankalaev looks like a creepypasta in this, so I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I'd say do this fight next for the interim light heavyweight title. On to the loser of the main event, Bogdan Guskov. I would say just rebook the rematch. I don't really know what else you do with Bogdan. Really unimpressive performance. He just moved backwards and did nothing. Had a huge opportunity. Didn't even try to capitalize on it, really. But obviously, Jan Blachowicz fights this upcoming weekend, this Saturday. And it's not an easy fight. He's got a young, hungry, undefeated up-and-comer against him. But I think he'll win, and I hope he will. And hopefully he doesn't take too much damage. And to be honest, Bogdan, even though he got TKO'd, it wasn't like he got dropped by a left hand from Ank and then got finished off. He just didn't move at all, and the ref just had to stop the fight because he was taking too many punches. So both guys, they could probably reschedule this fight before the end of the year. I don't know. The light heavyweight division's kind of in a weird place right now, so I don't really know what else you do with Bogdan. I guess you could give him a lower ranked guy, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out these matchups, and it's hard to go off because now we have the meta AI rankings and the normal rankings. Like in the meta AI rankings, they disrespected Jan Blachowicz so very much and dropped him from like a number 4 contender to number 15, even though he's only lost to Alex Pereira and the current champ in a very close decision, so I don't really get that, but I don't know. Bogdan Guskov's number 9 in the rankings. Jan Blachowicz is 15 in the meta AI. I say you just rebook this fight. Hopefully Jan Blachowicz wins his next fight and they can do this. But on to the co-main event. Ramazan Timarov winning by KO over Steve Erceg. So now he will be ranked in the lower 15 part of the rankings for going off the meta AI. And I'd say they're probably going to give him a jump up, pretty big jump up after that performance. So I say you give him number 8, Amir Albazi. Albazi coming off a loss to Horiguchi early in the year. And I'd say nobody really cares for Albazi that much. At least I don't like Timarov because he's a PED cheat, but at least we can have some guy who's getting KOs in the top 10. This is a good fight, I'd say, and you could put this in the Middle East. Both guys are like Muslim guys. Maybe as another co-main event in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or something like that, you could do this fight. And I think it could be a pretty good fight. Probably a scrap or probably a KO early from Timarov. Because Albazi could win this if he could tank the first round and not be dumb and just start trading in the pocket like Steve Erceg did. So he could win this potentially, but I'm kind of putting this matchup up so hopefully Albazi just kind of gets boomed and then we have at least an interesting knockout artist in the top 10 at flyweight, something new, you know. But yeah, I would say do this next. Albazi should be good by now. He didn't take like a buttload of damage versus Horiguchi, and it's been a while since that fight. And Timarov took pretty much no damage in his fight that I could see at least, so you could schedule this one pretty quick. And so I think Ramazan Timarov versus Amir Albazi is the best fight to do next. On to the loser of the co-main event. I would say you do Steve Erceg versus Mitch Raposo next. You know, I didn't want to give Steve Erceg just another knockout artist killer because I think he's just so chinny. And I'd say let's give him a break, give him a wrestler next. I think this would be a good fight. In the meta rankings, Mitch Raposo is actually above Steve Erceg somehow, but I'd say the media rankings are more accurate for this. Steve Erceg's number 10, probably going to be dropping a little bit. And this would be an unranked guy he's going to have to fight. And then he can, if he wins this, probably he might have to fight another unranked guy before he starts getting ranked fights again. But Mitch Raposo is good. This is a tough up-and-comer for Steve Erceg to prove himself. And probably going to be on a similar sort of schedule to Steve Erceg, because Steve Erceg just got KO'd, and Mitch Raposo was kind of in a tough fight with, what's his name, Alan Nascimento. You know, split decision, kind of a scrap. So, I'd say you do this one next. Young up-and-comer in Raposo. I think this would be a good fight. So, yeah, Steve Erceg versus Mitch Raposo, I would say, is the next fight to do. And I think I'm getting a call. Oh my god. So, John Pork's next fight. Yeah, as you can see, he's calling. We're going to go ahead and accept it. And the fight I believe he should accept next is versus Nazem Sadikov. A lot of hard names to pronounce in this video, but I think this would be an awesome fight. Both guys, Sadikov, I would say, is a long, lanky, sort of Muay Thai kickboxer. Definitely a striker. Uses kicks and elbows and stuff like that, just like John Pork does. And I think this would just be a really fun fight stylistically. And Sadikov's also a guy you can put on those Middle East cards where Chonka would like to show up. But maybe you do somebody else if Chonka is trying to stay pretty active, because Sadikov did just get KO'd not too long ago. He's probably going to be looking out for a little bit of time out. But these Dagestani guys usually aren't that active, so I don't think this is crazy to have Chonka wait a little, even though I would like to see him fight sooner than this. But if you want to see John Pork fight sooner, maybe you could do him against a Nicholas Mata or someone like that. That would also be a good fight, probably an easy KO for John Pork. But I think this would be a good fight. And then if he gets another impressive win, you could give him maybe a ranked opponent. I've seen people saying give him Fiziev in his next fight, and while that would be an awesome fight to have the two Muay Thai guys fighting against each other, you just can't give him a ranked opponent after only one win, and it wasn't even like a crazy KO or something. But after 2 wins and he wins impressively again, you could give him a ranked opponent. He's already a big star. He's got obviously the Muslim fan base behind him, and because of all the John Pork memes, he's got the American and pretty much all the other fan bases behind him too, and he's got a good fight style. So if he wins against Sadikov by KO or something, you could give him, I still don't think Fiziev, maybe like a Tom Nolan, a little bit lower in the rankings. And I thought he'd be fighting Moicano, but he's not, so could do that after John Pork gets another win. And then if he wins that, maybe hopefully we could see him against Fiziev, because I would love to see that fight. That would be awesome. You could do that as a main event somewhere in the Middle East. But right now, let's give him a smaller step up in Sadikov. And I think this would be a really good fight. You could do it in the Middle East. And the fans would probably be going crazy. So on to the next fight of the night. Rizvan Kuniev with a round 3 TKO over Tyrell Fortune. I think he's going to need 2 wins in a row for him. And a very close fight with Curtis Blades that he lost, that you could argue he won. So I think Kuniev needs to step up in the rankings. He's, I believe, number 8 or something like that in the rankings. So I say give him number 6, Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak. What a fighter. I'd love to fight him. That's my best Tom Aspinall impression. But I think this would be a good fight. Sergey Spivak coming off 2 wins as well, I believe. Just beat Ante Delija by decision. So I think this would be a good fight. 2 of the better blobs of the heavyweight division going at it. And both of them, if they won, would be on a 3-fight win streak and would definitely be deserving of a top 5, maybe even top 3 opponent. But you could also do this somewhere in the Middle East again. Kuniev probably would like to fight there. And Spivak, he's not Middle Eastern, he's like Macedonian or something, but he's some weird like Eastern European. You could do it in Russia or Middle East or somewhere where all the Muslim guys are at. You could do it. Probably as a feature fight or something like that. This could be a snoozer. It definitely could be, but I think by merit, this is the fight that you should make. So I'd say do Rizvan Kuniev versus Sergey Spivak next. And we go on to the next fight of the night. We got to give Walter Walker a top 15 opponent next. I believe he's ranked number 13, at least on the Meta AI rankings. Let me check that really quick. Oh, in the Meta AI rankings, he's ranked number 11. Maybe in the normal rankings, he's ranked number 13. Yeah, so in the Meta AI rankings, he's ranked even higher. So I guess I'll go by the normal rankings for this, because even though the UFC used these Meta AI rankings and created them, they never seem to use them on the actual fights. They still use the media rankings when the fighters are walking out and stuff. But I think this is a good fight. Derek Lewis obviously probably going to need some time off after his fight with Josh Hokett, so you could maybe do another fight versus Walter Walker because he's taking no damage. But you could give him like a Marcin Tybura or something like that, or a Mick Parkin or something like that. But I just think this is a pretty good fight, and in the media rankings, it would bring him up 2 spots in the rankings. Walker being number 13, Derek Lewis being number 11. And it would probably be a pretty easy Walter Walker win. You'd probably get a first-round heel hook. Derek Lewis is like a fat heavyweight that Walter Walker will submit pretty easily. But the thing is I don't think it's a completely unwinnable matchup for Derek Lewis. Like, I thought Josh Hokett was pretty much completely unwinnable, but in this fight, Walter Walker is a heavyweight. Josh Hokett's lighter man's skill. So that's why he's able to outspeed all these heavyweights and be a little quicker than him and stay away from the danger of Derek Lewis. But Walter Walker is an actual heavyweight, and he's very aggressive. So there's a chance he runs in and just gets caught with a big, huge punch from Derek Lewis and gets KO'd. There's a possibility. But it's also very likely that he doesn't and just heel hooks him. But, it's with Derek Lewis, if he's not going to retire, there's a lot of guys that just beat up on him pretty easily. Like, I think a Mick Parkin would beat up on him pretty easily. So you kind of got to give him, not saying that Mick Parkin's better than Walter Walker, but Walter Walker, there's at least a chance that he could get KO'd with how aggressively he starts off his fights most of the time. So I think this is a fight that Derek Lewis would take, and at least there's a chance he could win. But I don't know, maybe you give Walter Walker somebody even higher up in the rankings. If we're going off the media rankings, he's above Derek Lewis. And you could, I don't know who you'd give him based off the media rankings. Maybe a Curtis Blades or something, but I just thought this was kind of, get him up the rankings a little slow, give Lewis a winnable matchup, and also this could be put on a pay-per-view, and this would be a very entertaining build-up. Walter Walker is sort of a trash talker and is a pretty funny guy. Derek Lewis, also sort of a trash talker and a pretty funny guy. And both guys would probably make this fight and the build-up to it pretty entertaining. So I would say do this next. Walter Walker, bro. Walter Walker versus Derek Lewis. And that's kind of all I made because, dude, these fights this weekend were rough. There was not a lot of people I really cared about their next matchup. There were some guys I missed on the main event or the main card. Like, I do not really care what is next for Abu Bakar Vagayev. He's going to be a guy that's only fighting on these Middle East cards, so there's no point even matching him up. Most of these guys, I guess Sam Patterson I could have made a matchup for. Probably give him a ranked fight, man. I don't know. I think he deserves it for what MVP did to him. Give him the loser of Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know who that's going to be, but give him that. Axel Sola. I don't know what you do with him, really, to be honest. You know what? Maybe give him Nurullo Aliev. I don't know. I don't want to... Hopefully Axel Sola KOs him because Nurullo Aliev is a terrorist of the sport. But there's also a chance we could be killing the hype of a very fun prospect in Axel Sola. So maybe don't do that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about any of the rest of these guys. I guess Damian Respecki. Give him kind of he deserves a fight that he can win. Chonka's a hard fight for him. John Pork. Maybe give him a Nicholas Mata or something like that. A more winnable fight because Respecki is obviously a very good fighter. He just got somebody who was better than him in his debut. And still didn't just get... actually, he did get absolutely beat up. But, didn't get knocked out like other people would. So, I don't think you knock him for that performance. But yeah, those are some of the fights I'd make after UFC Fight Night, Abu Dhabi. Ankalaev versus Guskov. Kind of a boring card, so the matchups were not as good as they were for DDP versus Usman. If I'm being honest, wasn't putting my heart and soul into these ones because this card was a snoozer. But if you like the video and want more, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.